All right, good morning, good evening, good night, Web3. We're here with NFT Live. We're having a spooktacular episode here. I had to get all dressed up here as we're getting started today. It is October 31st. It is a Halloween time. It is a good time in Web3. Gifted, my hat's knocking into this fucking arm here, so I'm just like all thrown off. What's up, man? Is your audio coming through?
Yeah, I gotta
There you
I
go.
gotta unmute first. Yeah, man, I need to go grab my hat as well now. So I feel like I'm gonna have
Do
to
it.
jump off and go do that. Yeah, I'm just chilling, man. I'm trying to send you these links. We're keeping the party going, the good vibes from the GM Web3 Morning Show. I'm looking especially especially rugged today because I'm already starting my no shave November,
Mm.
Movember. It's gonna get hairy up in here, y'all. I'm gonna see how far this can go this month. I don't know.
You're gonna be looking like a caveman by the end of it, man, like some mountain man. Guys, if you're not familiar, we do obviously hop over to NFT Live right after the GM Web3 show, which we do on Twitter Spaces on the Web3 Twitter. The oat milk was brought up on today's episode. Oat milk was brought up on today's episode, and if you don't understand what oat milk looks like, that's it right there. That looks absolutely disgusting. No, but it probably tastes great. And it looks orange to me. It looks like pumpkin spice lattes or something.
It's it's like
Yeah, that's exactly
brownish orange. It's a latte. It's coffee. It's meant to be brown. It's like I don't know what you're expecting here.
true. True. Okay, we are getting started here today on NFT Live. I want to just say a quick happy Halloween to everybody that's in the chat. We had a ton of good giveaways that happened here. We're gonna pull that up related to JEFFJAG's drop. What other giveaways did we do? Because
Nightmare Fuel.
there we go.
Yeah, that's Jeff Jag. We did some mementos from Steven Arcella. I have to say his name right. Arcella.
Hit to
So
the
yeah,
hands.
Steven, yeah, you got to do the hands. Arcella. So he graciously also donated some of his beautiful memento NFTs. And then we gave away a rare Witchy GF aura, animated aura, of course, created by none other than Sketch Nate and the Nifty Castle. So yeah, lots of giveaways happening today. It's been a good time. We had fun. It was our 100th, well, technically our 101st, but we
Who start?
celebrated 100 episodes.
That
Who
that was
starts with
glossed
zero?
over. Who starts
Engin-
episodes with
en-
zero?
engineers. That's who. People who understand code.
It's like an alpha mode. Is that what that
That's
is?
that's Sigma.
Oh, okay. All right. Pumpkin spice latte sounds about right. A llama's coming through. Digit said that does not look like oat milk. Q even has a Halloween mug. We got a lot of Elon and Apple pieces. Okay, he's gone. Yeah, he's gonna come back with the craziest hat known to man. Cromer saying Halloween or Happy Halloween OVOT. There it is. That's actually backwards. It says Tau. It says Tau milk.
That is what it is. That's the Tau.
All right, folks, here's what we got on schedule for today's episode. We're going to hit some quick news, some quick news about Cool Cats. So Cool Cats had some scary things come out of that ecosystem, not anything good. LooksRare is reducing creator fees, so another scary link as Gifted is going to give us his take there. Sent Halloween collection, Elon buying to... you're really going with the Chippendales. The Chippendales is a real thing? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was Giffen Chat.
We haven't decided on the
Giffen
name yet.
Tales. Giffen Tales.
We have not decided on the name. All right. Halloween episodes are going off the rails a little bit, but as I said, a little bit of quick news, and then we're going to hit Elon buying Twitter. We also have a Rate My Halloween segment. I want you guys to take a quick look at this. We've got the initial list here for the Halloween villains. Now, if you see something that's not on here that you would like to add, please internalize that. Take a look at a Halloween ranking, and we're going to come back to this because this is going to be like the last segment because people come here for NFT news. That's what I heard, at least. So we're going to touch on a little bit of NFT Web3 news. Then we're going to end with a special Rate My Halloween segment. A lot of good ones on here. Gift, do you see anything missing from this list just off the bat?
Yeah, what's the leprechaun? Is he in there? What's the
Ooh, I know who you're talking about. Where is he?
Yeah, it's called Leprechaun. Those are the movies.
Oh, Leprechaun's not in. You see, okay. I'll add Leprechaun in here, guys. Let me know if there's anything else. I completely scrolled by Leprechaun and I added him, and I guess he got removed. Kind of spooky.
I don't believe you.
It's fair. That's fair. All right. We're going to move into quick news, guys. If you have not hit the like button yet, it does help get the episode out. We're going to get started talking on some news. So if you haven't been here before, we do this every day, Monday through Thursday. Hit that sub button. Do a lot of different content on the episode. Fun Uncle's got another piece of content coming through this week as well that he's going to get to. I'm sure he had a fantastic time in. I feel like Uncle's gone every week now. He could be in Miami. He could be.
He's living his best life. I don't know. He's a jet setter. He's definitely putting the fun in Fun Uncle. I know that much.
True. All right, we're gonna get started here. I want to bring up JEFFJAG. So we had we're like up on the that's why. Okay, yeah. All right, that was super meta.
Yeah, hey, we're live on Twitter today. If you didn't know, we live stream, we multicast to Twitter.
Let's be meta
Twitch now, and we're working on that LinkedIn game. We're gonna get on LinkedIn eventually here.
Yeah, JEFFJAG has a dope myth that's happening right now that is still open till the end of the day. These are like nightmare. He called it nightmare fuel because it is. Look, this is the one that Cromer won via the Web3. It says trypophobia written all over it. I had to give away this piece there, and Cromer actually tweeted about it. So shout out to Cromer there. But that is like stuff of nightmare, literally nightmare fuel.
What does trypophobia mean? What is this?
It's like the fear of circles. You see these like not fear of circles. That was stupid. I actually am deathly afraid of circles, but it's like all the circles together. It's like I can't even explain other than right here. You see all these kind of circles that happen. That kind of creeps me out. I have trypophobia. Apparently, it comes from the fact that like that image is like ingrained in us as like disease, because like disease will do that to something. So like some people have very like strict. I don't know. Let me know if you have trypophobia in the chat.
Lesions, and different things like that. Like
I was
the plague.
Yes, the plague. Yeah. The plague. These are the three that I was minted. Apparently, this one's pretty rare too. So this one actually looks sick. It's like a cockroach man standing in a conjuring field. I kind of come here on the Halloween vibe.
Yeah, in his natural environment, you would never even see him coming because he'd blend into those trees.
Look at that. So I'm keeping that one for sure. That actually ended up on OpenSea. Do you use the OpenSea ranking by chance? Like apparently there's rarity tools on OpenSea now. Have you seen that?
So I haven't really used them much yet. I saw that they were integrated. Aren't they just there? They just show you. So it's not like you have to do anything. It's just integrated, right? It just tells you.
Yeah, I'm gonna show my bags here because you're right. It just does tell you. But check a look at this nightmare fuel here. Number one.
That's
number
the rarity
one.
ranking?
Number one. That's what I was gonna ask JEFFJAG. I'm like, are we going specifically off rankings? Because I got number one of 114.
And you didn't give that away on GM Web 3? What?
Well, it's not Christmas. It's Halloween. Maybe on Christmas I'll give away something that's a little bit more rare.
It's hella wag me, bro. How are we all supposed to wag me if you're not giving away your rarest NFTs?
Are you trying to make Hello Wag Me a thing?
Is it working?
A little bit. All right, so we have that JEFFJAG giveaway. We can pull up some other links as well from some of the other giveaways as well. And I'm going to hit a couple of these quick news pieces right off the bat. So we got a Cool Cats announcement. Not a good one. Cool Cats terminates staff members without a given reason.
This isn't really an announcement.
It was an announcement from some individuals.
This is what people in the Web3 media space call reporting.
Cool Cats laying off their staff is akin to Elon busting down the doors on Twitter and firing Twitter as well. So we got staff member firings up both.
Also, that didn't happen. That's not a real story. That's not a real thing. So
what didn't happen?
He didn't fire half the staff. He just fired some of the chief executives.
What's more important?
The lie or the truth? Like, what are you asking?
What's more important, if you fire the chief executives or if you fire half the staff?
Yo, shout out Mr. E, #HelloWagMe. He's keeping it going. He's making it a thing. That's what's up.
I think he should go with the Mr. E, like the mystery. I think
That's what I'm saying.
you tried to throw him a lifeline and he didn't take it.
I thought he was actually really clever, and he's like, "Nah, my name's just Eric." I was like, "Okay."
All right. Okay, back into the hard-hitting stories that we have here in the Web3 space. Cat's terminating staff members without a given reason. This just came from basically staff members tweeting that they had been let go.
Do you have to give a reason, like from a bit? Like, look, nobody likes to be terminated. I get it, but like, yo, this is business.
Senior digital illustrator.
Like
from Cool
this is
Cats,
like,
let go.
Do you just expect that like you're always like people have to keep paying you no matter what, even if they can't afford to or their business isn't going well, and then you need them to like outline like, here's a 5-step reason for all the reasons. It's like, no, this is at will employment. Like, what are like this feels like not new. This is not news to me. This is non-news. Like
the news. Okay. So the news being that potentially, I think there's a new CEO at Cool Cats too. So this probably has to do in the same light with Elon, like coming in as the new CEO or the new founder or owner or whatever, that he's going to make some changes. So it could be a tie in there. The bigger piece of news is a downsizing because, you know, they're not making a ton of money through revenue. If volume's not coming in or they don't have a drop planned up.
Like a lot of people are struggling right now. Like we're in the middle of a freaking bear market, and you're going to be shocked when companies have to downsize and stop paying some people. Like, are we so entitled and so soft that like every time that we, you know, lose a job, we have to go on Twitter and make it some big news story? It's like, dude, this is how markets work. This is how businesses work. I don't know. This to me feels like non-news. Hey, yeah, I bet Cool Cats is probably trying to figure out how do they keep growing their business and survive and thrive through this bear market, just like everybody else.
Well, is Bored Ape making the same decisions? Is Bored Ape making the same cuts and all these things? I think the only piece of news, I mostly agree with you. The only piece of news there is like you have a situation where, okay, does this continue? Are they going to continue to downsize? Because that could be like some type of death spiral for a project that's known for being, you know, tops in the space. Is it just to
be clear, this is a way for them to survive.
Yep.
So like you're like, oh, this could be a death spiral. It's like, no, continuing to pay out a bunch of people that they can't afford to keep on. That's a death spiral. That's how you go into bankruptcy.
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of going with the route of like you're hiring too many people is also kind of a situation where, you know, in a bull market, maybe you kind of swing for the fences, and then once the bear hits, you're like, damn, we really need to trim this back.
When you have more money, you hire more people, right? Like I don't know. I feel like I'm being very blasé and like sort of condescending about it. I just feel like this feels like this is economics 101 shit, and it's just like business.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very entitled to just like be like, can you believe that they had to lay off a few people? How dare they? It's just like, bro, it's a business. They're trying to survive and figure it out. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Some businesses have a little bit better treasury management than others. That would be my only case. Again, going back to like, is Bored Ape Yacht Club doing this? Maybe Cool Cats is over leveraged as fuck. So maybe they have no money.
Like, hold up. We like even a blue chip, you know, top tier NFT project like a Cool Cats. We cannot set a standard where every single project is being compared to Yuga Labs, which literally dominates over 50% of all NFT volume for the first half of 2022. That's an untenable standard. And this is why I don't like when people come out and they're like, oh, it's the Bored Apes of Solana. It's the Bored Apes of this. They're like the Bored Apes of this.
That's a good narrative.
It's like, nah, man, you are not the Bored Apes of this until you're worth, you know, fucking $50 billion or some shit. And you are literally the first conglomerate ever to exist in the NFT space. No, you're not the Bored Apes. So trying to like compare other projects to the Bored Apes, first of all, is a misnomer. I don't buy into that standard. I think it's nonsense. The other part of it,
it's an easy thing for us to point to.
Sure.
It's an easy project to just throw out there. I could have said Doodles. So yeah,
there's other projects probably closer that would be more fair comparisons, and I just don't think that we should expect everybody to live up to the same standard as Bored Apes in the space, because nobody can be like that right now.
Yeah.
The other part of that is like, you're right. Like some people are going to be better at managing treasuries than others, but what I can tell you is incredibly hard as a founder, especially when it's like, you know, you are factoring in the volatility of the currencies, you know, going from basically can be 70 to 80% down from 1 month, you know, to a couple months later. It's like it's hard for anybody.
Yeah.
Even in like Web 2 management to manage and run a business when the currency's relatively stable-ish, that's hard. You know
Yeah,
what I
and you
mean?
have to downsize in times that you need to be lean. It makes sense. Let's see if we have other projects come out with the same type of news, and maybe they have some type of. This was a situation that I feel like the cat got out of the bag there too. Like you could say, like you probably should have agreements with people that you're employing. That means you can't go on social media and be like, "Why did you guys do this?" Like I'm sure a lot of those larger projects have that.
Q, you should check your connection/video because yeah, you're very pixelated, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't done anything there. So I kind of tried to disable my camera while you were talking. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's not the camera. But anyway, I'll keep talking to it, Blur.
Is it that bad?
Well, what I see is bad. I don't know what it's looking like in the. Let's go look at the stream. But there's definitely comments coming in about it being blurry.
Word. What a Halloween episode we're having there. We're getting some spooky signals here, but
we've got Friendly Krueger fucking with you. He's trying to come through the screen.
There it is. All right, real quick news piece. LooksRare reduces creator fees to 0 as competition heats up. I mean, like this has been an ongoing thing for a little while. We're not going to spend much time on it, but it looks like this is where marketplaces are going. They're I think having a like creator royalty support by default. So here's the tweet specifically from LooksRare. So it looks like they're setting up like a side process or a side function to export creators, but they are having again the option to go to 0. So it's 0 royalties, still supporting creators.
Yeah, which
but I want to dive in.
Sense.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
doesn't really make sense. That's like I believe the words oxymoron is what that is.
Yeah. LooksRare will be directing 20% of protocol fees to creators and remove standard creator royalties. Buyers can opt in to pay optional royalties at checkout.
So it's god. So
at the risk of going on a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should focus on keeping the news stories up so that we're small and then it doesn't affect, you don't look as blurry when you're like small. But this is basically trying to turn artist fees into a tipping mechanism. And again, like at the end of the day, I'm not for it. I think that we need to create other solutions and protect creator royalties. And you know what? If marketplaces need to build the royalty into their fees and just hide it, from people so that they don't see it, like fine. Again, that's what happens in most industries. Like actors get royalties, but you don't see it when you're buying a movie ticket, right? So we have to figure it out. Artists need to be protected. They need to get their royalties. It doesn't matter to me how. Again, all of these seem like very in between sort of like middling efforts because they haven't figured it out yet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, but at least let's just be clear. The idea of like having an option of whether or not artists should get royalties for their work is not, it's not a good idea. It's not tenable. Doesn't make sense. And you know what? Shabazz, one of the homies, friends of the castle, tweeted the other day, he's like, without royalties, NFTs are kind of pointless for artists. And that's true. It's like, why? It's basically like, yeah, I'm just going to create digital art again. And there's nothing new. Or like, why am I going to care to go through the process of minting it to the blockchain and create these as assets for myself? It doesn't even fucking matter. I'm just going to go back to basically, what DeviantArt was. It's just sharing your art and everybody copying and pasting it and right-click saving it for free. Because it doesn't matter at that point for the artist.
Yeah.
And Llama said the no fee royalties thing is just a desperate move to get users. Yeah, they're just trying to court traders and courting volume.
Well, that's what the Rarible guy said. The Rarible co-founder we had on the network and was basically like, yeah, we're going to 0% royalties. We're going to an aggregator because we need to survive. So there's that stuff going on. All right, we're gonna move into Elon at Twitter, and I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on with my cam, but
Just
I'm
keep
just
the
trying to.
news keep the news up big, and so our videos are small in the corner, and it's not as bad.
But then you can't see your pretty faces, man.
Oh,
Let's
oh.
see.
Yeah, my unshaved dude. It's gonna get weird. I'm just warning y'all right now. If y'all want to participate in No Shave November and Movember with me, like I'm just gonna see how yeah how hairy I can get and how out of control my beard is gonna get. So that's the goal this month. I'm actually abstaining from a lot of things, but shaving is one of them.
All right, is it optional abstination or?
Yeah,
Are,
yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. But
okay,
I
okay.
want to push myself on a couple different things, and and no shaving is part of a larger diet that I'm doing. Let's call it that. And yeah, if anybody wants to participate and not shave with me, feel free. So I don't feel like I'm alone.
All right, so Hash Rhymes has a comment here. X2Y2 enables communities to vote for or against optional royalties. Kong's voted to disable optional royalties, forcing royalties by default. That seems like a really cool decentralized way to go about it. We're seeing like in real time a platform there use a Web3 approach, which is enable the community to make the decision, which they seem to have gone in the favor of actually promoting
This
those
is,
royalties.
but this is okay. If like the creators, the team already decided on the royalty, that's why they have it there. Like
Who
I don't know. This to me is all fucking nonsense. It's ridiculous. If you want to have 0% royalties, assign 0% royalties, and then it doesn't matter in the first place. If you have a royalty, and then you have to vote on whether or not you keep your royalty, it's just like what?
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit like a PFP community as opposed to a like artist community because you have a PFP community that's voting via DAO governance to enable or disable
Either
royalties.
way, the whole idea of doing that vote should be an option for that team and that business. It's like this is all fucking ridiculous.
But why shouldn't the community be involved in that governance vote? Why
They
should it be
can
just
be
the?
if well, y'all. Okay, hold up. Like you as a business and as a founder, as a project creator, as an artist, whoever you are, that is your prerogative. You get to decide. So, like, can you put it up to vote and have a DAO? Yeah. You don't have to have a DAO for your project.
Well, that's what they're doing.
But like,
That's
so
what
we're
Kongs are doing.
right, and that's one example. But so you're saying that everybody has to act like Kongs now for some reason?
No, I'm saying that's a good option to have when we're going through these discussions of royalties and no royalties is to like be able to say, okay, the community, which is integrated into decision making process in some of these projects, they should have the ability to maybe vote on it.
That's one way to do it. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not to me. It's not an enforceable standard, and it shouldn't be. I don't know. This all this feels like we're removing the control and the power from the artists and the creators for the traders. Either way, so like I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having a community vote. I think that's fucking great. I just don't think you
Yeah.
should be telling people that you have to do this for your project.
Yeah, you don't have to do it by any means on X2Y2. I think it's an option that they're going with. So good to see that option kind of come through. All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic here. Probably the largest topic of the last week, although it'll continue into the foreseeable future with Elon.
Dude,
There's like
I think your Halloween outfit broke your internet connection. I think that's what
about to like full on just call it a wrap here
rage
and just be
quit. You're about
fucking.
to rage quit.
I'm about to rage quit. GIF was like removing my tweets from the Twitter Spaces, saying that I called the Metaverse something I never called it before. So I'm about to like
Okay,
full rage
hold up.
quit.
On that note, real quick,
Oh, here we go.
somebody check the tape. I am sure that we had a conversation at some point where you told me that it wasn't the metaverse unless there was ownable land tokenomics associated with it. Do we really never have that combo? Am I totally making this shit up? I feel like
I
somebody's got
think
to.
I think the word choicing you're using there is definitely not the words that I talked about. But I also think there are elements of land and of ownership of those assets. But I've always thought the metaverse was, even in the Web 2 sense, very much a World of Warcraft, very much a, Second Life. So I
Hey,
think
but
we
I'm
probably were
happy.
having an adjacent discussion,
I'm
but
happy to be wrong if that's the case, because it sounds like you're coming around. And Marty McFly, did you guys go as Brokeback Mountain? Apparently, yes. Apparently, we coordinated. We coordinated. Yeah. Uh, all right, Elon Musk. Let's get into it.
well,
Let's talk.
we had the metaverse discussion too. We can get into Elon Musk here in a second, but the metaverse kind of conversation came up with, like, I think three different links. You got NFT trading tools here. You got a festival in Decentraland. We got Sandbox. So maybe we'll come back to that. But yeah, we'll have that discussion then. Elon taking over Twitter, cementing control over the company by firing a bunch of people, and it made news. It made news. The C-level executives here got let go, notably the
Like three
CEO,
people. He fired like three people,
the
which were
the
the chief
highest
executive.
ranking people
Yeah.
in that had a lot to do with the free speech on the platform and other things. So we have like a very, like a, I would say more of a Web 2 story, but I guess we can, again, with this discussion, kind of move into how this affects Web 3. We've had already Twitter tiles is a piece as well. So you can like sell NFTs or like link to the marketplaces natively ingrained in the Twitter platform. So we'll kind of dive into Twitter tiles here in a second. But basically, the story is Elon Musk disbanding Twitter board a day after acquiring the company. This was another thing to me that came out. It was like, this was a back and forth for a while. The buying and selling of Twitter itself was a back and forth. It was like, I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. There were like lawsuits filed on either side. And then it felt like the day that he walked in with the sink, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know this was happening. And then he fired everybody, but in like the span of 24 hours.
I want to know where the bots conversation netted out.
What's that?
Like, so you're talking about the whole back and forth in the lawsuits. It was
Yeah.
around bots.
Yeah.
I want to know, where did that go? So, like, what percentage of users on the platform, what percentage of engagement is all bots? I want to know where that went.
We didn't hear anything. So the new Twitter owner plans to rethink the company's content moderation policies and permanent bans for users who previously violated the platform's policies, including the man, the myth, the legend, D. Trump over there, who's waiting in the wings, I guess, to get back for a 24 run via Twitter platform. So a lot of I don't want to get into the political conversations. Of course, again, this is like more of a Web 2 conversation, I think, in total. But how it affects Web 3, I think it will. I think it will be a positive for what we're doing. DogeCoin is up big on a hope and a dream that maybe it gets added to the platform. Elon, of course, is associated with Doge.
I feel like it just took a big step away from dream, closer towards hope. I
Yeah.
feel like this has been a dream, but I feel like it just took a massive step towards becoming reality here, because there's a lot of content, of video footage, of Elon Musk talking about Doge and like sort of what he sees in it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he has the power of one of the biggest, platforms for NFTs and all this stuff, I actually think it's unlikely that he won't find integrations for Dogecoin. So to me, it's like, I almost think it's more likely than not that Dogecoin is going to have more utility.
Whoa. That's a big statement. You're saying more likely than not, and then there's a timeline piece there too, which is like years. Are we talking years? Are we talking 6 months?
I think within a year. If Elon Musk can make it happen, I feel like he's going to make it happen. Because again, like if you've seen some of the things he's said about Doge, and his personality and his proclivities, it seems almost obvious to me because okay, y'all probably have heard of something called the Boring Company, right? Boring Company made a bunch of flamethrowers, quote unquote flamethrowers, but they weren't technically flamethrowers. And he was able to ship them around the world, sell out all these flamethrowers by simply putting on it, this is not a flamethrower. Like the guy is absolutely always pushing buttons and pushing boundaries to do weird, ridiculous things. The guy shot a Tesla with a spaceman sitting in it into orbit.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, he's
that's
clearly
what we're
one of the
talking
most
about.
eclectic people in the world at this point. He's very, yeah,
And he is on the record saying, Doge was a joke. Wouldn't it be ironic if it became like the global currency?
yeah.
And then he's got quotes to
So,
like back it up,
yeah, there's a,
like Destiny loves irony and shit. Like that's where his head is at. That's how he thinks.
so here's the
So
the Dogecoin chart as we pull it up on CoinGecko. It's
let's
up
fucking go.
literally 100% on the last 14 days. So if you did buy around this time, and this is on a 180-day chart, so you can see literally like, I mean, it's been a fucking minute since Doge has done anything, and you see that really ridiculous volume increase as well as price increase. And all of that stuff happening. So, do you think he will keep Twitter Spaces private? That's okay. So, to the conversation around like plans for Elon and what he will do, I think the idea here is we're going to see a little bit more Web3 influence than we would have otherwise. It felt like that wasn't really on the agenda for the people that owned Twitter prior to Elon taking over. So I mean, we can pontificate and speculate on things that will get added. Payment platform via Doge sounds like a really cool system. Payment platform via Bitcoin sounds like maybe something that could be accomplished, a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be ETH, Bitcoin, or Doge. My guess would probably be like Bitcoin payments, ETH payments before Doge. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna happen, but everybody is pointing out that you need Starlink because your internet's a potato. Yo, keep the comments coming, yo. You're cracking me up at least. Q's self conscious about his internet bandwidth. He's feeling like his bandwidth is a little small today.
guys, the average bandwidth is not that large, to be honest. Starting off, let's
Yeah,
start the conversation there.
especially when it's rainy and cold out. In
It's
Virginia.
completely sunny here, so I have no excuse there.
Ooh,
Listen, guys, there's a lot of things that go into showing you on a day-to-day basis what needs to happen to get this show going. I've got lo-fi music on the background. I've got screen sharing. I got to support GIFs 1080p DSLR camera.
yeah,
So there's a lot that goes into that.
it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot.
I'm about to fucking fly to LA today. This guy is getting on me and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm turning off the lo-fi. I'm about to fly to LA. I think we might end the stream here because this needs to happen. I'm gonna put Twitter profiles or Twitter tweet files or NFT tweet files, Twitter files. This is what Twitter came out with, or at least says they're about to roll out. Now testing NFT tweet tiles. Some links to NFTs on Rareable Magic Eden, Dapper Labs, and Jump Trade NFTs will now show you a larger picture of the NFT alongside details like the title and creator. One more step in our journey to let developers the tweet experience.
Well, and also a CTA. To me, it's like that's one of the coolest parts is that you can, I think, customize the button that goes with it too. So I don't know. I'm excited. I haven't seen this in my timeline yet, but apparently it's being tested somewhere. Some people are getting to test it, but I'm really excited about more integration.
The timing definitely works out too. I don't necessarily think Elon came in and was like, "We're doing this NFT tweet tiles," but the timing is pretty interesting. The fact that all happened and then they released something for Web3, like we're talking about.
It is. It's very interesting. And we did talk about, is it bullish that Elon's buying Twitter or not, a couple weeks ago, and I was saying I think it's very bullish because, as far as people that could have bought it, there's a lot of other people that may have some biases against Web3, against NFTs for whatever reason, whether it's environmental concerns, different types of FUD, or like, maybe you're invested in other things like, the the status quo of fiat currencies and you don't like crypto. Like, there's a lot of other ways that it could go, but to have somebody who's as progressive, tech forward, as innovative, and already very crypto friendly taking over one of the biggest platforms, I think is massively bullish.
Mr. Joker says, Quantum Variant, I hear the plan is to take it private, revamp the whole thing so we can get things done without investor issues and then go public again. And then Quantum Variant's coming back and saying, do you think Elon will take a 30% cut from all sales like Apple? I feel like we're just kind of like getting at everything he's about to do. I think in general, it's pretty safe to say there's going to be more of a Web3 focus. I don't know if that means that he's going to like completely be against the fees of launching things via Twitter and all of these like pieces, but it doesn't feel like that, like the sales are going to happen, does it? It feels like it's just a kind of discovery tool that they're using for Twitter, at least like these tweet tiles. It's not like they're selling them via Twitter, correct? It's just you're going back to that marketplace.
So yeah, maybe not yet, but like the other piece of news that we didn't touch on is that Twitter is apparently developing their own crypto wallet.
Did that just come out?
In the last week or two, yeah. So, again, I think where all of these big platforms want to be going is to be owning as much of the market as they can, right? They understand there's a lot of energy and value and engagement and, potentially a lot of money. So it's like, in whatever way they can, they're going to try and own as much of that market share as they can. Why would they settle? Why would they not at least try to, have their own wallets in their own marketplace?
Mm-hmm.
Like they could launch it and it might not go anywhere. It might fail and they might cut the cord after, it might be a Google Circles. It might be one of those things that just doesn't take off. But like, why would you not at least try? In my opinion, like, I get it's expensive, but if you could, you could own your own marketplace, like, yeah, there's a lot of money.
I guess it leads the question to being like, why didn't they attack it sooner? I felt like they just had another door going with Twitter and like things that they wanted to push, specifically the free speech stuff. Like, it wasn't like, let's move into this environment where we could tap like a cryptocurrency wallet or some type of payments wallet. Let's attack maybe social issues. And that's kind of the thing that will switch with this new ownership. Feels like at least like that. I don't know how much of this stuff was being developed before Elon took over. That's the thing. It's like you hear all of this news and Elon took over,
Yeah, I'm guessing. Well, here's an interesting part of that conversation too, is that to your point about these conversations have been ongoing for a little bit. Like, it's not like he just got interested in owning Twitter yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a conversation that's probably been going on for months. Like, it's been a public conversation for at least like 2 months, 2 or 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
like long enough for it to be litigated, right? So it's like there was probably, even before the public discourse, couple months of back channels like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Can I look at your sheets, your financials? What's up with your, like, I'm sure before it even became public knowledge that this was happening, there was due diligence and conversations happening.
It's fair.
And so, he's massively influential. He was probably already in talks about owning it. And then there was a good chance that he'd be owning it, probably months ago. So it's like he could have already been, kind of steering the ship in certain ways. But we also know they were also integrating NFTs already. So they probably had their own initiatives. It's probably a mix. I don't really know that it matters, but I feel like at least with him in charge now, the future is, to me, more bright and more secure for Web3 tech being further integrated and supported, and not just being dropped or sidelined.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it, honestly, to wrap up that conversation. The last piece that we are going to get into here is going to be a little bit of metaverse discussion. We had some like metaverse news here kind of come in as we go, but we are going to touch on a Rate My Bags Halloween segment here. So we are going to rank Halloweens. We do have to add. What's the
Leprechaun?
Leprechaun. 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 All right. Okay, I could do it.
Yeah.
It's like a little Toronto.
Toronto? Yeah,
we just found that out today.
We learned that the right way to say Toronto is Toronto. So,
the more you know.
We're going to do NFT Toronto in late January, early Feb. So if you're in Canada, if you're anywhere near Toronto, and you want to be involved in throwing a badass NFT party, let me know, because it's fucking happening. I'm gonna go up there and throw down.
Have to say Toronto. If you want to come to the party, that's the password. That's the password.
And also own a DB.
Oh,
that's it.
You heard it here first. Drew Bloom saying Q looks like Mr. Beast. That's probably the nicest thing anyone said about me today. And cryptocurrency is actually saying something very interesting. I'm going to pull up the screen here one more time about what we were just talking about. NFT tweet tiles. Some links to NFTs on, and there's no OpenSea there. There's absolutely no OpenSea. Is that a dig? Like, there could be OpenSea should be on this list here. And start with Rarible and go through Jump Trade NFT, not the largest NFT marketplace on the tweet.
I feel like maybe they just felt like it didn't have to be included because it is the big one, unless they are actively like making a point not to integrate it, which is. It's an interesting move if that's the case. You know what I mean? It's like, it feels like at that point that there might be some kind of internal politics, and then they're letting that determine the utility for the users, which isn't, it's never good. It's never good when that happens. You know, if let's say that they have some kind of disagreement with OpenSea as a platform, and they're basically saying, oh, we're not going to integrate the biggest NFT marketplace into any of our tools. It's just like, that's not good. That's not good for the users.
True. You know another thing that's not good, GiftEd?
Your connection. The Metaverse. Oh, the Metaverse.
Shit.
Right.
All right, I'm dropping him. All right, this is it. It's solo today, ladies and gentlemen, for the rest of the episode. God, GiftEd is just pushing buttons left and right today. It's clearly a jab, cryptocurrency says, and facts from Drew Bleem. All right, we're going to pull up some Metaverse pieces. If you have not liked the episode yet, please do. It helps the episode get out afterwards. We have to let everybody know that we have subpar latency on this channel. So please leave a like for the episode and also subscribe if you haven't done it yet. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Twitch, do the same thing in that platform, whatever that might be. Leave like a follow on Twitch. Give us some bits. And we also have some OVOTs coming through. So we appreciate y'all showing up today. All right, quick news here for the Metaverse that we are going to touch on is going to be Ozzy Osbourne performing in the Metaverse in Decentraland. This is going to bring all the users back to Decentraland. And then we have Gucci Land in the Sandbox. So just absolutely thousands of users just flocking to the Metaverse this week via both of these events. I will say, not being facetious at all, this is what they should do more of if we want people to actually like have fun in the Metaverse, is like take a front row approach to leading these events. It can't just be community led. That's what we've seen in Crypto Voxels. That's what we've seen of time in both Sandbox and Descent. You have to take a front row and just like lead the charge if you're these teams, if you want to get more people in and have 1,000-person experiences and have, you know, multiple 1,000-person experiences per month.
But can't you? Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I have not been in Decentraland in a while. It's been a minute. I do recall, though, if I'm not mistaken, there's a pretty hardcore limit on how many people you can see in the space at one time.
Sandbox,
so, like,
yes.
That's not the same with Decentraland?
No, I think Decentraland has a larger, they might have different instances, but I'm almost positive. They do have a cap, but I think it's a little bit more than Sandbox.
See if we can figure this out. If somebody knows, please put it in the comments.
So I know for a fact Sandbox has like a 30-person limit. Decentraland, I'm not sure on that piece.
Yeah. Well, to me, that was one of the biggest limitations of these, metaverses, these virtual worlds, is that again, you can't even get that feeling of like being in there. Like, and that's one of the benefits with Other Side, right? Is that, when you did the first trip, when you did that test and you actually had literally thousands of people in there, it was like it was an experience. You're like, holy shit, this is unreal. It's not something that most of these virtual worlds can even support yet. And that's a big limitation to actually having that group crowd experience for a big event, making it feel like it's, super engaging and exciting and immersive. So I don't know where Decentraland is at with that. For some reason, I recalled it being a pretty severe cap though, of like 30 people or 50 people or something at a time, which, you can feel some ambiance with that, but it's not the same as like being at Ozfest, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I'm interested to see where all this goes. Again, it's like, we're not trying to FUD any of this shit. We want this stuff to succeed. I think the truth is that it's been slow, and these virtual worlds that have been at the sort of the front end of where metaverses are going haven't been super successful yet. And the data is starting to show and come out about like how poor a lot of them are doing. But the truth, we talked about this. VGF was basically saying like, look, they need to create better experiences that are more sticky and like make people want to come back. And then also somebody else was pointing out, they may have come in too high initially, like just overvalued. Like is virtual land really worth the thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars that some people paid for it? Like, not really, not right now. And so, there's an argument I think to be made that a lot of them kind of overpriced themselves, or the market overpriced it um, initially. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be super
Yeah.
valuable. But then again, like we were talking about voxels, isn't voxels talking about increasing supply too? It's like, you know,
When they initially increased that supply, there was a severe backlash by that community. So like that's a constant discussion. Sandbox has been doing that from the beginning as well. Like they've done more land sales than big land sales than either Decentraland or Crypto Voxels. It's a yeah, it's a tough conversation because I just think that it's a visual representation in a lot of ways of Web3 because you're not getting as many users and activity in Web3 in general. It's just in the metaverse you can see that there's only 100 people in here. It's kind of a good representation of what's happening in crypto in general. We're not at the point where it's in everybody's zeitgeist. It is that everybody's talking about. Everyone's talking about Doge, all this stuff. In the metaverse, you just have a good example because you can see that there's not that much people here.
well, so period, like how many people are actually like in crypto collecting NFTs and then spending all day in a virtual world in a video game environment? It's
Mm-hmm.
not that many people to start
It's a
with.
niche of a niche.
Yeah, but then it's like you have to like those people would rather be immersed in like a game or a world that they really love. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think anybody feels that level of affinity to any of these worlds yet because there's not that much to do there. Like it's not there,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. It seems kind of obvious, but yeah.
The AR VR stuff is coming at the debate is like happening. I feel like at the same time that VR is like technologically wise, like it's starting to have some advancements. People are starting to like lean into AR more. It's like such a weird dynamic because we've been talking about VR for the longest time and the technology is getting better, but then a lot of people, including myself, are starting to believe that AR, I think Mo was making that point that AR is going to be the onboard for a lot of people into what we're doing, but also VR. That's it's going to be meeting them where they are, which I've definitely, been more on top of is AR over maybe the goggles or the big headsets and things like this.
Yeah, it's clunky. It's not really practical, right? The headsets are still not practical, and people still want to go out and do their lives, and they just want the added utility. They just want the layer on top, right? So
Yeah. I have to go on record with this metaverse piece too. At some point, I have to go on record with the metaverse to get my thoughts on the metaverse on record, so that I don't have something come back and bite me in the ass on what I think.
well,
the
your
metaverse
connection
is.
looks a little bit less potato right now, so now's a good time.
Woo! Shoot. All right, so I said lay out my thesis on the metaverse, past, present, and
This
future.
is your chance. Floor is yours.
Okay, the metaverse, I agree with that we are in it right now. I'm talking from the time that the internet was created and we were connecting together over the interwebs. That definitely was the metaverse. The metaverse has been able to be visualized a little bit more in the past 20 years with video games, World of Warcraft. People always give the Second Life example, but I do feel like there is an opportunity to own the metaverse, and that's what Web3 enables, right? You own these assets in games, but you really don't have it, in your like a custodial wallet or anything like that. The argument I think that people make a lot for Web3 and crypto in general is that we're on AWS. So I don't think we get a full ownable metaverse until we could figure out decentralized storage and decentralized hosting as well. But I do feel like there is a Web2 metaverse, there is a Web3 metaverse, and we're moving more in that direction. But I do agree, like Twitter, things like Discord, things like YouTube right now, we are in the metaverse. I also think that there's ownable assets in the metaverse that people aren't attacking yet. And games won't do it, and metaverses won't do it until there's a couple use cases. And that's why we made such a big deal about Reddit and other platforms.
All right, there it is, Jacob. There it is. We gotta hold you accountable this time though. So we gotta clip it, post it, and then we can go back and we can all refer.
What is the metaverse to you?
The metaverse is just an idea. Okay, there's capital M metaverse. Well, no, there's capital M metaverse.
Let me take a hit real quick before you say that first topic. The metaverse is just an idea.
Get ready.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing.
So capital M metaverse is to me it's so this is I am not the person that first proposed this theory. I don't know their name, but this is the theory that I subscribe to. And that is that, again, there's a difference between, first of all, again, there's a difference between capital M metaverse and then little m metaverses, which are basically just all these different virtual worlds, right, that are popping up and doing different things that we exist in different ways, right? So there's all these different virtual worlds and virtual experiences and platforms and places that we are experiencing ourselves and living our digital lives, experiencing our digital identities day to day, doing business, like all these different things. These are all little m metaverses that are part of the larger capital M metaverse. The theory that I subscribe to is that the metaverse is not a specific place or anything like that. It is a time in which our digital lives become more valuable than our physical lives. And I think we are actively moving into the metaverse together. Right now, we're in a liminal space. We have 1 foot in sort of like Web 2 and then one foot in the metaverse already, which is why it's so awkward. We're in this awkward in between where our digital lives over the last 10 years have been actually becoming more and more valuable, to the point where like we spend the majority of our time, energy, and focus in business operations all online, all in virtual worlds, participating, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's actually in deep VR or it's in Sandbox or any of that, or even again, just, playing games or on our phones all day. Like, to me, all of this is part of this larger moment in time, this larger movement of the metaverse that we're all participating in, where our digital lives are more of a focus than our physical lives. So that to me is what the metaverse, capital M, is. So all of these different, virtual platforms, social media, video games, virtual worlds, all of this shit that contributes to our digital selves, our digital lives, our digital experiences, all of that contributes to the capital M metaverse, in my opinion. So I don't know. That's my thought. So okay, and then to round that out, how does Web3 and blockchain and all that factor in? That's just one layer that can be included to provide certain utilities. So like you don't have to have tokens, you don't have to have blockchain to be part of the capital M metaverse. It's one aspect that enables certain utilities like peer-to-peer frictionless transacting and ownership of certain digital assets and all these things. So like do I want to be living in a capital M metaverse that does, layer in those capabilities and largely rely on blockchain technology to empower its users? Yes. But is us entering into the metaverse determined by whether or not that shit exists? Not at all.
Yeah, Llama's coming in the chat with a multiverse comment as well. I think that's been thrown around a bunch, like for people that believe maybe in the distinction, and the lexicon hasn't been really defined. So like everyone has their own thoughts on this, but like the multiverse could potentially be what you're talking about, which is the large M metaverse, right? So you have metaverses, and some people even go down to like what we're doing right now is a metaverse experience, So there, multiverse is a large, I think like a cover all term for what would be like this larger metaverse where everything is encapsulated in it. I, earlier on the morning show, you were talking about like me thinking that, there needs to be land in a metaverse. It's not necessarily, I think, something that I would like tie my wagon to, but you need to be able to have the ownership piece. Like I think people gloss over this ownership piece when it comes to what the metaverse should be. Like that's the whole design around Bitcoin, is the fact that you can own these things in this environment. So maybe that's where you kind of got what I was saying about Web3 and the metaverse and all this stuff, is like the ownership piece is the key. Because if you're in
there has to be some kind of ownership for there to be objects of any real value. But like where that ownership lies and how that ownership is, transmuted or commuted, or like how it operates, that's open for debate. Blockchain is just one option, and then there's a bunch of different blockchains that operate very differently. So it's like, we could go into a fully centralized metaverse where,
but you wouldn't own the assets, right? Like
somebody does. Just because we don't doesn't mean that there isn't actual ownership. Again,
oh yeah, but you want ownership for the user.
But like somebody owns our data. Just because we don't own our data doesn't mean that somebody doesn't own our data. So ownership exists. It's just a matter of like where and how. So
they own it. Yeah, agreed. Right. Like you need to have your car not owned by the government to say that you own your car.
So you and I are making, we fall on the side of decentralization, sovereignty, etc. So it's our prerogative to fight for that form of metaverse. We don't want the government to run everything with the CBDC. We don't want the government and Facebook to be the entire metaverse. Right. Yeah. To us, that defeats the purpose, because that's not the values of why we got so excited about, the potential of this technology in the first place. But to pretend like that's not fully a possibility, like it absolutely is. It's not written in, it's not written in stone already that there's going to be a decentralized metaverse in 10 years.
Yeah. And that's where we're at. That when it comes to 10 years down the line, are our metaverses going to be populated, or are the ownable metaverses going to be populated with people? Because we already see metaverses that don't have ownable assets. And when I say ownable, I mean by the people, by the actual users, not the centralized company or the government or what have you. I'm talking about the ownable metaverse where you don't have assets custodied by a single entity, like a World of Warcraft, for example. All those assets, if you want to call them that, they are digital assets. They're just all owned by the entity,
by the companies.
Yeah. So that's what
centralized.
Yeah, that's where I would draw the line with like talking about a Web3 or a metaverse that I would want to participate in or what have you. Is like, are the assets in that environment owned by the individual?
Yeah. Well, and the unfortunate thing is, you look at somewhere like China, like people there very much may not like the systems that they have to operate in, but may not have a choice. Mm-hmm. And so, you and I we are very lucky and blessed to live in a country that even lets us talk openly about dissent and decentralization and shit like that. Because I'm pretty sure if we were trying to host this kind of show in China, like we'd be shut down even for just talking about this shit. So yeah, I think just understanding that like we shouldn't be taking any of this shit for granted, because like ownership is out there and we're fighting for a new paradigm of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are actively fighting for. And like, it's not necessarily guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
at all right now.
Agreed. Yeah, way to kind of summarize those thoughts there as well. The short-term price fluctuations on the land are interesting, like whether that's going to come back, right? Like there was a comment in the chat on the Web3 show of being like, I don't think there should be land ownership that costs more than my house. It's like, well, there's like paintings that cost multiple mansions. Like it's kind of like a subjective debate there. Like,
Well, yes and no. People, the utility and the use cases aren't there, so you can objectively make a case for why it does, like certain valuations just don't add up. But that doesn't mean that they won't be there. And to your
yeah.
point, like yes, there's some level of subjectivity in terms of like, well, if somebody believes it has value and they're willing to pay for it, then like
Mm-hmm.
okay. But also you can look at the use cases, you can look at the amount of users that are in these worlds, and if you actually understand like why does real land have value, it is
Mm-hmm.
because of the function and utility of owning a house and where it's located and all of the things that that enables. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have a house in an abandoned metaverse, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you've got a nice house in an abandoned city. So
Yeah.
basically like your water may or may not work, your electricity might cut out. There's maybe like robbers and fucking, like all kinds of animals at the gate. There's nobody there when you call them to come and, fix your fucking your kitchen, your dishwasher. Like none of your friends can get to you because the highways are all fucking broken down and nobody comes to that city ever
Yeah.
anyway. So it's just like if you have that mansion, whether or not it was really nice at one point, the value is very quickly going to go to zero because it doesn't have the same utility and function.
You're very much betting on the fact that like the metaverse platform that you're buying into is eventually going to be New York City. And everybody uses New York
Yeah.
City as a real estate example. But if you are able to get into a Manhattan level like real estate opportunity in the metaverse, then paying, $5,000 for it or paying $10,000, eventually that could be something that's worth multiple millions. And that's what everyone's betting on. We had a short-term kind of retraction in interest just because it's a niche of a niche. It's like if you're levered up on the most degen activity is metaverse land, in my opinion. Like now that I think about it, it's like it's like the lever. It's like the levered of the levered of the levered. You're not just in Bitcoin, you're in NFTs, and you're not just in NFTs, you're in NFTs that represent digital real estate. And it's like it's a super levered piece.
Well, you're right. I agree. It's super speculative. It is leverage on top of leverage, incredibly risky. And this is also one of the problems with the way that the word metaverse has been bastardized and thrown around and applied to all these different virtual worlds, is that people are like, oh, I'm buying into the metaverse. It's like, no, you're buying into one project.
Metaverse.
You're buying into a virtual world that is basically like a game that like may or may not ever have a user base and integrate into the larger metaverse. You have no idea. It is incredibly speculative, but you are basically gambling and betting that quote unquote metaverse will have some place in the larger capital M metaverse in the future.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely zero guarantees that any of these metaverses, small M metaverses, will exist in 5 years.
Mm-hmm. There needs a lot of the incentive to be in those worlds at the time was that you were like being a part of a community that was eventually one, if you own the land, you wanted to be a part of that community to proliferate that platform so that more people would buy into the land and you get that network effect, all that stuff. When that doesn't exist, people start to like maybe not want to, like that was the incentive to be in there is the part I'm getting at. Like, why don't people join into a metaverse? Well, a point on the Web3 show this morning was like because the games that do exist that are Web2 are so much better than the ones that exist in the Web3 gaming space. Gaming and Metaverse are often, I feel like brought up together because like Decentraland could be a game, Sandbox could be a game. But the idea is like we had an incentive, we had a narrative for a little while that made people come over because maybe the game wasn't as good, but you had the ability to maybe earn some tokens, or you had the ability to buy some land that increased by 100x. Like that was the incentive. Without those things, there's no incentive and therefore no people. So it's like the only other incentive is to make a better game than those people. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, and that's where you get the FUD, you know, people like Bill Gates saying that so much of it is based on greater fool theory, or people calling everything a pyramid scheme. And that's because if there's nothing backing the value, if there's not a great game, if there's not an active user base, if there's not something else backing up the value and it's only based upon getting more people in to buy the land, it is basically a pyramid scheme. And unfortunately, like you're seeing that like whatever's backing some of these metaverses, which I'm not saying there's nothing, but it's just, it hasn't been enough to justify the valuations yet. And I think that's what we're seeing. So yeah,
it's a bet.
So I think this is a correction. I don't think this is the end of, you know, these virtual worlds. It's clearly not, because somebody's going to come around and crack it, whether it's other side, whether it's one of the big game publishers, somebody, and you know, Meta, they're doing their thing. They're not going away. So it's like, this shit's not going away, but like not all of these little M metaverse virtual worlds are going to make it. Yeah. Not all of them are going to be great experiences that can last and provide that value that justifies their existence, period. And also like we say this now a couple times, but like it's a reminder. It is so hard to create a good game. It is really hard. And I know this from, you know, 5+ years working in the video game marketing industry with Electronic Arts and Ubisoft on their new game launches. Like a lot of those that have millions of dollars and years of like teams of hundreds of the highest quality animators and developers and coders working on them, a lot of those games get shelved or fail. And like, you know, so it's like, it's just not easy. And I think that that's kind of one of the hard realities that we're facing with a lot of these projects and these metaverses, is just how hard it is.
Agreed. It's a large conversation. I mean, Mr. Joker's in the chat saying define value. So that's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down, but it's part of the things that we're talking about. Do you value
little
this?
v value or capital V value? That's the question.
That is the question that we will answer next time on NFT Live. We do have one more segment that we want to get into, but we will wrap up this conversation on Metaverse. It's a large one, man. I think we've kind of hit on enough of it to think that we're like, you know, good for the day. But tomorrow there's probably going to be another Metaverse topic that comes up. But at the end of the day, if you don't value digital things that you do digitally, like think about your parents, think about like our grandparents' generation, like they don't value this shit at all because they don't live in a digital environment for the most part, even though that's happening more and more. I've seen my parents get more and more into Facebook, more and more into watching videos on their phone. That is an element of the metaverse, and we're moving in that direction.
They won't adopt it until they don't even know that they have, or they have to, right?
Agreed. All right, let's move into we're like square at the end of the episode. We wanted to do this last Rate My Bags piece, Halloween edition, because it is Halloween. I'm even going to throw this up. Hopefully this doesn't break the potato of a computer. Oh, I even got rid of it. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Yo, shout out to Big Daddy Elon for providing Nifty Q with a Starlink connection, middle of the show.
That way we're able to throw up this background.
Yeah, he went ahead and hooked up our boy Nifty Q over there with his Starlink connection. Looking better.
Thank you, Elon. I appreciate you. All right. Rate my Halloween episode. Here we go. Again, it's only going to be, hopefully we're in here for 10 minutes, guys. This isn't like we'll be here 2 hours later, but literally 10 minutes. I will throw up the leprechaun. I couldn't do it mid-show. So apparently that's Gift Dad's favorite Halloween episode, but this is what we got. We want you guys to participate. If you participate, I will choose one winner from the chat to get a JEFFJAG Nightmare Fuel NFT. We're just sweeping the mint today. I don't even know. That's not even a thing, but I'm sweeping the fucking mint.
We're sweeping mints.
All right, so I'll find Leprechaun. If I don't have something up here that you guys want added, let me know. I'll get it added. But Gifted, just off the top, what do you see?
S tier. Like, I mean, how dialed in is our algorithm on this?
Not
That's what
dialed
I
in at
like.
all.
What are the inputs that we are factoring into this? So I feel like as far as S tier, it's hard to compete with something like a Chucky and
Yep.
an I feel like it is like for some reason has really been a super popular scary character over the last
Yes.
5+ years.
Okay.
uh,
So
and, and and it is a horrifying character, like, to be clear, like clowns are fucking horrifying, period.
true.
So I feel like, Chuck, as far as S tier, Chucky, it, those two go. Hannibal Hector is a great one. The Shining,
Yeah.
that's an epic one. Jack Nicholas, and
So comments are coming through. What is
Maybe
it?
Saw and
Saw.
Hellraiser.
Okay.
Saw and Hellraiser are two others. Um, Michael, from Halloween, was never my favorite.
Yeah.
I
I'll
don't
be
know.
honest. I haven't even seen Hellraiser. I haven't seen that movie, Hellraiser.
I think I saw it when I was a kid. Yeah, it's. I don't know that it's like the greatest movie, but it is an epic villain. But yeah, so maybe not S tier for Hellraiser. Maybe that's more of like A or a B.
Marty McFly says S tier is Chucky, Leprechaun, It, and Gary V.
Hey, you know what? Gary V keeps his spot at S. I'm okay with that. I feel like Marty's coming around, and that's his way of telling me that
True.
he actually is feeling more bullish on Gary V.
Okay, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Do we know that? Savage is mentioning that one. I can get that added.
But like, I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember what the villain is in that movie. I remember that movie's very funny, and I enjoyed it. But like, I don't specifically remember who the villain was, so I don't know that they could be like a top tier villain. But I do remember that movie being very funny.
Okay, I'll get it added here. So we're at the beginning of this, right? The algo is not locked in whatsoever. So I guess the main thing I was trying to think of is it a good? Are we talking a great movie? Are we talking super scary? How relevant is it? You mentioned It being like probably the scariest one now. But maybe the 70s version was not as scary in my opinion.
And those are good movies. Those are good movies. They're enjoyable. They are frightening. The character's very memorable. A lot of people like to dress up as it right now. It feels very relevant. I feel like, there's a lot of different data points there that factor into it being S tier.
Okay.
I'm going to go run to Little Cowboys room real quick. So y'all in the comments, let us know what we should be factoring in and which characters you think are S tier or D tier. I feel like if we sort them into S and D tier, it helps.
Start to get it.
Yeah, you start that spread. So I'll be back.
All right, we've got the Girl from the Ring. So the Girl from the Ring is actually in here. So we got that. We got Annabelle. We've got Freddy Krueger. We've got the doll from It, Scream, Hellraiser, Chucky. Chucky feels like an S tier. I got to be honest. I'm gonna move Chucky to S tier. He just feels like an S tier villain. Most known, probably one of the most known villains. Scream feels like it could be S tier as well. Like as far as like being known in the horror scene, but I don't know if I like the movie that much. Like Chucky, I can get behind. I could watch a full thing of Chucky the entire time. All right, what else do we got? I've seen all the Hellraisers, great B movies. Pennywise is top notch. Justin Casey, appreciate you. Yo, I appreciate you, Justin Casey. Thank you. We're getting through the bear together. So the Girl from the Ring is on here. So we do have Samara. I think it's Samara. Upside, Pennywise, Hellraiser, Chucky, Freddy. Freddy could be there. Scream is definitely a classic. I get it. I get that Scream is a classic.
Scream's a classic, except I think that honestly, the parodies in Scary Movie are actually better than the original. And so I feel like Scream is maybe an A. I feel like Scream could stay at an A for me. I don't know that it's S tier. It's very respectable.
Do you remember the villains from Scream? Do you remember who they were?
No,
I think it's going to
it's been
surprise
so
you.
long.
It's going to surprise you. I'm going to pull it up on screen.
It's Carmen Electra, isn't it? Carmen Electra, I think, was
Check this out.
the villain.
It's the dude from Scooby Doo.
Oh shit!
That surprised me right there. That ghost
Yo,
face was the dude from
who
Scooby-Doo.
has seen the movie SLC Punk? Let me know in the comments if you've seen SLC Punk, and if you have, I will airdrop you a Witchy GF NFT. That movie is fucking epic. That dude's like the star, I think, of that movie. Have you ever seen SLC Punk, Q?
No. What is it called?
Bruh. Salt Lake City Punk, SLC Punk.
SLC Punk.
Yo, that
Horror
movie, it's not a horror movie.
Oh, it has the guy from it. I get it.
Yeah. It just reminded me of that movie. That was probably one of my favorite movies when I was at a certain age.
Love it.
Yeah, it's just a drama, great drama.
Gift, you know who this is? I saw this all over the Halloween stores, but I don't know what movie this is from. If anybody could tell me what movie this is from.
I don't. It reminds me of the Batman villain, but I don't think that's who it is.
Oh, Scarecrow?
Scarecrow, yeah.
So Pulse Chain saying, I saw SLC Punk. We got a lot of SLC Punk comments, so a lot of people loving that pick.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to start moving some people around. I put Chucky in S tier while you were gone. I feel like Chucky is like S tier horror movie. Also one of the scariest things that I remember as a kid.
Yeah, I think Chucky is an absolutely legendary, super memorable, hilarious, badass. Yeah, I agree. Chucky should be up there. So anybody that saw SLC Punk, drop your ETH addresses in the comments right now, and I'm gonna hook y'all the fuck up because it's Hallowagme. This is our Hallowagme special. And
Gift's still trying to make Hallowagme the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have Jason Voorhees up here, and I should be fired from this show.
Yeah, you probably should be. Did Jason start with Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Was that the origin?
No. Two separate things. Two separate things.
Okay. I am not a horror film expert, clearly.
Okay, I think Jason and Freddy should probably be S tier horror movies. I think they're again top tier. We can move these around as we go, but I'm gonna start with them there. Now you said you weren't a horror like movie maxi or anything like that. When you were a kid, what was the scariest movie? And I'll tell you mine, but what was the scariest movie that you watched? Like that scared the absolute shit out of you?
So definitely some of the, I remember some of the Chuckies. I remember some of the Freddy Kruegers being scary. I definitely remember like Leprechaun just being kind of like entertaining, like a little bit scary, but very entertaining. The one that stands out in my mind, I always forget the name of it. There was it wasn't a franchise. It was just like a horror movie it was one of the house ones.
Hold
on.
Those ones get scored. Like the Conjuring-esque.
Yeah, hold on. I'll try and find it.
All right. While Gibbs trying to find the scariest shit, like still to this day, I get scared from this movie, The Ring. Like The Ring scared the absolute shit out of me when I was a kid. Chucky, when I was a really, early lad, I was very scared of the Chucky doll. Also scared of The Ring. Like her coming out of the screen. I can't be around like fuzzy televisions. I can't be around dolls. You can tell.
Yo, so I think it might have been The Haunting, maybe?
The Haunting.
Yeah. That one was really, if that's the one I think it is, which I think it might have been, that one was really scary. And then...
Oh, is this the one where they all came to the castle and they had to survive through the night?
Kind of, yeah. It's one of those. Yeah. That one was really scary. And that one didn't really have a specific villain. It was more just the house in general was haunted. But dude, Saw, I think Saw should be at least an A.
I can see that.
So
Yeah.
so okay, so there's a whole subgenre of horror that is torture porn, or I should say
True.
torture porn. Torture porn. Torture porn is like not my thing. And when I saw the first Saw movie, I think that was my first experience with torture
Yes.
porn, and I was like, this is messed up. Like, this is horrifying. The worst thing of all time. Why is this a thing? And I watched it and I kind of enjoyed it in a weird way, but I also hated it and I thought it was awful. But it was very memorable.
Slasher almost.
It was beyond slasher. Are you
Slasher.
kidding?
Yeah. You know what?
Like,
Crazy movie. Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. Have you seen that?
yo, House of a Thousand Corpses is good. Devil's Rejects is actually one of my favorite movies, though.
Is that the sequel?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of his horror movies. It's amazing. It is so twisted. Yes, bro. Yo.
He's freaking out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yo. Devil's Rejects is absolutely insane. If y'all haven't seen that movie and you want to see some twisted, weird stuff from the mind of Rob Zombie.
So we think an A for that series, like together, Twisted Rejects or Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. We can go with.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of my favorite movies, especially as far as horror goes. It might be my favorite movie.
I see.
Devil's Rejects. So,
I could go S. Awesome. I feel like I feel like there's a pantheon of S tier. You know what I mean? Like, I could go S.
Good word. Look at you.
Look at us. Look at us. All right.
Who would have thought?
Annabelle series. The Conjuring. Does that scare you at all? Does that move the meter? The Annabelle Conjuring movies?
Not really. Not really for me.
Okay. Keep it at B. The Ring. Did that scare the shit out of you when you were a kid?
To be honest, I didn't really get into it. I remember I feel like it so for me it didn't really do much, but it deserves respect because that's the the creepy girl, which is sort of like a whole that's a whole meme archetype. And I feel like The Ring is what really kind of like put that on the map.
Well, The Exorcist in the 70s too. The creepy girl from The Exorcist.
The OG. Yeah. So I feel like The Ring gets respect, but to me it's like maybe B. Maybe A, but I feel like maybe B plus.
See, if I was making my personal list, The Ring would be up. This is where I have to separate my personal love because I would put The Ring at S tier personally. That just absolutely scares the living shit out of me every time I watch it. But I agree with B from a popularity standpoint. No, I like the popularity piece there. You're right. How about The Omen, Damien? Did that scare you at all? The Omen.
So that was one of those that was a little bit like before my time. I've seen it and it is very scary. Like the kid, like jumping off the roof and shit or whatever it was. Like, I don't know. It doesn't I don't really think of it when I think of like awesome horror. It doesn't really stick out to me that much, but I don't know. Yeah,
I got
maybe
you.
B or C for me.
Okay, I'm down with that. Another that would be personally on my S tier list, just probably my favorite horror movie or one of them, Jeepers Creepers. It can't be S tier. It's just not as popular. But where do you think Jeepers Creepers belongs?
I'd put it in B, but you decide. That one's not for me.
I agree with B here. Annabelle might be an A. Just that whole Conjuring series. It's pretty scary, but. All right, the Witch from Wizard of Oz.
I mean, that's
wow.
OG. I wouldn't really call Wizard of Oz a horror film, but I mean, it's a famous villain. So I would put it in a B or a C, but Let's
see what chat says. If chat, you guys want this added, the Witch from Wizard of Oz? If not, we're fine with that.
Definitely a super villain, one of the classic villains of all cinema, but yeah, not really a horror movie. So I don't know.
Okay, the Hocus Pocus chicks are. Again, that's not a horror movie to you. It's a children's horror movie.
Hocus Pocus as a horror movie. These are broad definitions.
It's like a Halloween movie, right? It's a Halloween.
It's a Halloween movie, but not all
Okay.
Halloween movies are horror.
Okay. Okay. We'll put that over here. Hocus Pocus was just like it's a classic Halloween movie. Here's two that I don't have on the list. Do you think we should add either? Dead Silence. You ever seen Dead Silence? It's like a doll movie. Good movie if you are scared of dolls. Hills Have Eyes was brought up.
Yo, okay, that's another one. Like, I don't think it's S tier. Maybe a B or an A. That's a really truly horrifying. That's a scary movie, and it's also one of those that is memorable enough that like I still crack jokes about Hills Have Eyes to this day. You know what I mean? So like it created a
Yeah.
meme stuck in my head, and I still reference the Hills Have Eyes.
That dude, this is the best picture, I swear. That's what I found.
Uh, yeah.
Okay, Hills Have Eyes. I'm okay with Hills Have Eyes in B or A. I think it's one of the more well-known horror movies in the past probably 15 years. Hills Have Eyes, and then they had a sequel too, I think. So I would put it in B,
Yeah.
but I could see it being in A.
It's a strong B. Maybe
Strong
an A. Let's see. Let's keep it in B for now. See how we
Okay.
feel.
All right. We'll have a halfway. Okay, Hellraiser. I have no comment on. I know the mask.
It's a very memorable character. So as far as like memorable villains, it's like way up there. But as far as like relevance today and like popularity today, like it's pretty low. So I'd say maybe B or C, you know, somewhere in that realm. But that was definitely one of those villains that like was very, very memorable.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'll do for this guy. The Hellraiser. I'm guessing that's his name. Again, you can see that I have no recollection whatsoever of this character. I will put it as a poll. We'll put Hellraiser in S, A, or B.
Maybe the poll should be: have you even heard of or seen?
All right. Hellraiser. It's coming, folks. All right. What else, Skiff? While I put together this poll.
I think The Shining goes maybe S tier, S or A.
Ooh. Yes.
I think we put Scary Movie in A for now. Put Shining either in S or A. You know, I guess Michael should be A or B. I personally would put Michael in B, but also like I don't know. That's like one of the most popular horror Halloween villains of all time.
Yeah.
So
You mean the Chainsaw Massacre?
no, Michael.
Oh, Michael Myers. Yeah, Michael Myers definitely S.
Really? All right.
Michael Myers.
Fine.
That's a classic.
It is. I know. It wasn't for me. But like, you know what? It's science. If it's S tier, if the algorithm says it's S tier, it's S tier.
Okay, The Grudge. This might be this is also another one that scared the absolute. I just don't like girls with black hair over their face. I'm just not a big fan of that. I'll put this in C tier, just on this ranking.
We need
B
more
or C.
C tier. We need more C tier in here. So yeah.
Apparently, there's a lot of good Japanese horror movies as well. I don't know if you know that, but the Japanese make great horror movies. That's where The Ring came from originally. It's called Ringu.
Wait, yeah. How did Leprechaun get put in D tier? I was feeling offended here.
That is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I rewatched it because Jen A, like a young Jen A, was in it, and
Jen A.
Wow. And it's just a bad movie, man. It's just that Leprechaun doesn't scare you at all, does it?
It's more like it is a little bit scary when it's doing fucked up sadistic things to people, but it's more about like the overall effect and enjoyment of the movie. But yeah, that's fine. You can shit on Leprechaun if you want, but just don't. I would just sleep with one eye open tonight. That's all I'm saying.
I'm okay with moving it up to C.
I'm just saying the Leprechaun hears.
The Leprechaun.
He you know.
Dude, I gotta say, this is my most fun rate my that we've had so far. This is like the most fun I've had doing this one. Okay, the chick from The Exorcist.
That's a really famous one. It's got to be at least A. I feel
I think A.
it's got to be at least A.
Do you think it's worthy of S tier? We're getting Leprechaun B. Comments for
Maybe.
B.
I mean, look, for equality purposes, I don't see any other women villains in S tier. So if we want to be as equitable as possible, that is one pretty badass female villain.
I tried to. I will have the record show that I tried to add both the Hocus Pocus women and the witch from Wizard
I'm
of
just
Oz, and
saying
Gift said no.
this is not very inclusive, Q. I'm just saying.
All right, they're off the list. Mr. Joker saying the girl is just a vessel, not the villain. Really, really good point. I think a lot of people get that confused. You know, that the demon was living inside her. That wasn't necessarily the girl. We often throw her under there. We shouldn't do that. All right, we've got 5 left. I'm also open to adding any more that were left off. We have 5 left. We got what's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's name? Does he have a name?
Something face.
Leatherface.
Is it Leatherface?
It is Leatherface.
Yeah.
All right, here's one gift that I want you to see. I have to make sure I get her the old movie. What do we think?
Carrie, right?
Yeah, Carrie.
Again, I don't know. Didn't really do it for me. Maybe a B or a C. It's a pretty famous one.
Okay.
Mr. Joker says Carrie was dope.
Carrie's classic
right.
for sure.
Mr. Joker says B. All right.
All right, we're gonna close out the Hellraiser poll here. Oh, we got a tie. No, we don't have a tie. Okay, B. Hellraiser's in B. Not a lot of fans. All right. Does anything look out of place here? That's really what the list is coming together. Does anything look out of place?
Hannibal Lecter has to be S or A, one of the two. Again, I think Scream belongs probably in A. Probably A or B, but I feel like you could make an argument that it belongs in A.
I don't think we can. Yeah, I feel like Scream's too classic to put below.
I'm with that. I know, yeah. So Leatherface, I feel like is also a classic. It's hard to put that below an A, but maybe a B. I don't know. A or B probably for Leatherface.
Okay. Why not S tier for Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Isn't that another classic?
It's a good question. Again,
the algorithm.
I feel like it really inspired a lot. So you could probably make a case for S tier for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's got to be A or above. So I'm not opposed to Texas Chainsaw Massacre being S tier.
All right, I'll ask that to the chat. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, S or A? I'm completely fine with either as well. We've got Hills Have Eyes. I don't think, again, Hills Have Eyes I don't think is an S tier, but I could put it in A. I could see it in A or B. A or B.
I feel like it's not as famous or popular as a lot of the ones in S and A, which is to me, I could see Hills Have Eyes being an A, but I feel like based upon...
I'm just moving shit around.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some Leatherface S. I could do just by popularity's sake, I feel one that stands out to me here is we both love the House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. It doesn't feel like it's in that again pantheon of these.
Yeah.
But that works into the algorithm. Everyone's got their own rate,
Yep.
All right,
Yeah, I guess B.
Candyman.
I'm not familiar with Candyman, period. So I got to rely on the algorithm for that
Okay,
one.
we'll move it to C. Scary, but not the scariest villain. All right, this is another one for me personally. Hits home. The Insidious movies are awesome.
You've got. I feel like we're there's some like latent misogyny or fear of women that's coming out in these horror choices. I don't know, man. I feel like all of yours are little girls or women that you're scared of. I don't know, man.
Listen, old ladies and little girls scare the shit out of me when it comes to the horror movies. I'm serious. Like maybe not even the horror movies, maybe just in general. But no, they just scare me, man. I just don't,
I
I don't
applaud
like
you
little
for your
dolls.
honesty. I applaud you for your
Clip
honesty.
it. Clip that shit.
Clip it. You're done. You're canceled, bro. You're done. That
All
was
right. So
it.
Insidious to me, again, if I'm making a personal list, up at the S tier, but I'm okay with doing it for like the sake of the rate my bags element. I think Insidious is probably a B. It's just not. It's a cool series. I think they did a good job with it, and it's recent. You know, a lot of these are like really old movies that have been recreated. So I'm gonna put Insidious at a B. You got it.
I feel like we keep Hills Have Eyes at a B, and then I feel like we do a poll between S and A for Hannibal Lecter.
Okay. I think both of these two.
Oh yeah, there's already a poll for Leatherface too. Yeah.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Well, I thought you were.
No, we didn't do it.
Okay. Yeah, we do a poll for those two, and then we've got our final board. The algorithm will have spoken.
All right, I'm making sure we haven't forgot any. I kind of like our board up to this point. The Leprechaun, I'm okay with moving up to C. If we want to move Leprechaun up to C, I'm good. All right, here's the other question, folks. This is my only other question as we wait for the polls to close. Best, like number one S tier, like scariest horror villain or movie of all time.
Oof. I feel like personally it would be between The Shining and It, and maybe Freddy Krueger. Like Freddy Krueger was pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
So,
all right, we're closing out the poll. We're closing out the poll here.
Shining and Krueger, maybe It would be at the top of my list.
Chucky's so iconic too, man. Like this top list is so iconic. Maybe you're right that Michael Myers might be the least iconic of these characters up here.
I don't know, man. Michael's pretty iconic, but it's not my fave.
It in terms of movies, Freddy or Jason in terms of villains. Those could be the top two horror villains often associated. It ranks number. We're getting a lot of its. We're gonna keep It at number one. I like that. I'm okay with moving Chucky down. That seems to be coming together a little bit. Yeah. All right, we're closing out the poll.
Yeah, clowns are just. I think most people agree clowns suck at this point.
No shit. I was decorating the house this October, and my girlfriend's like only guideline was we couldn't do any clowns. Like nothing related to clowns. You can do anything you want, no clown shit. All right, Giff. I'll let you have the final say here on Hannibal Lecter here.
I say put it at A then. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to throw you that took part in the Rate My Halloween bags here. I guess they're not bags, they're just pictures. Rate My Halloween movies, villains. However we decide to term it, I will pick one winner to win a JEFFJAG Nightmare Fuel for participating today. last thing here as we close out, anything stand out that we're going to get absolutely flamed on? That's the only kind of comment I have here. Are we going to get flamed by anybody for having this list? Maybe Scream at A.
I don't
I feel like Scream's iconic. No? Okay. Can we put what?
They're all iconic. I mean, Saw is iconic. Hannibal Lecter's iconic. The little girl from Exorcist is iconic. I mean, you know. I feel like if we could put your potato internet on here as the villain of today's show, that would be good. But no, other than that, no, I think this is pretty solid. Pretty solid list. Pretty solid.
Put the Hocus Pocus witches back in. We're getting the Hocus Pocus tonight. And Hocus Pocus to everybody else. Happy Halloween. This was a fantastic Rate My Halloween episode / talk about Q's internet / talk about Elon buying Twitter / Metaverse. Just an awesome other episode of NFT Live. We will be here tomorrow as well. So if you guys want to attend GM Web3, or no, actually, you have to attend GM Web3 if you come to the NFT Live shows. If not, I'm not sure what I could do for you.
You're a rug. Period.
Absolutely.
I saved all of the ETH addresses from those who said that they watched SLT Punk. I don't know if I believe all of you, but I've got 6 or 7 ETH addresses here. So look out for a Witchy GF NFT incoming into your bags at some point. Right now, Gwei's actually pretty high right now. I think there's a lot of activity, probably around all these awesome Halloween NFTs happening. So at some point in the next 24 hours, check your bags for a Witchy GF.
All right, folks, our vibe, our tribe. We will see you tomorrow here on NFT Live. We'll be covering the NFT and Web3 news from around the industry. Please leave a like, as GiftEd is saying right there. Do it right now. Have a happy Halloween. Hopefully trick-or-treating goes well for all of you that partake. And GiftEd's going to Chippendales right after this. All right, later, y'all.